So I was preaching this kingdom message the first weekend of January at Fort Worth, Texas First Church. And I was laying hands on people. And a man named Gerald, who was disabled for 4 years, God healed him. The next night he came back, and he said, Brother Dan, God healed me. I said, awesome. He goes, I want to put a new motor in your truck. New motors aren't a sign either. But he bought a $5,000 brand new motor and put it in himself in 8 hours, and he's been disabled for 4 years. But one of the signs that sticks to us is that we'll lay hands on the sick and they'll recover. And so the next night when he testified, other people started getting healed. One man's name was Greg. He played football 23 years ago for TCU. And he said, Pastor, I can feel my feet. I haven't felt them since I was 21. And I said, praise God, because the healing power of God started moving through the room. This report that Mark Taylor read from Flint, Michigan, where 1,000 people were at the altar, and we had crowds of 1,600. Are you kidding? In Flint, Michigan, the murder capital of the world. And in one of the services, a little deaf boy was healed, 5.5 years old, born deaf, and God's power hit him, and he ran up to the pastor and took the mic, and he said, Pastor, I can hear. Because one of the signs that sticks to us is that we'll lay hands on sick people and they'll recover. Amen. Well, Brother Dan, it doesn't happen. I tried it. Well, then quit then. Are you kidding? Well, I didn't like lunch. I don't think I'll ever eat again. Are you kidding? The service was terrible at Cheddar's. I'm never going back. Unless somebody buys my meal. Here's my advice to you. Pray for 100 people. Just pray for 100 people. And if one person gets healed, you have to start over. Holy cow. I was in Clearwater, Florida. I had a word of knowledge for 22 people that were depressed. And I said, you need to come forward now if you're one of those 22. 22 people came forward. I didn't even get a chance to lay hands on them. They just started laughing. Now, I'm Nazarene. This is a Nazarene service. And I started laughing. I don't even like to laugh. You kidding? And they all got healed. They started testifying. Because one of the signs that sticks to us is we have power to lay hands on sick people and they get healed. Amen. You hear that, right, church? The next 2 days later, I went to Ocean Springs, Mississippi on Interstate 10, Crossroads Tabernacle. And I preached on sanctification on Wednesday night. I did a drive-by revival Wednesday and Thursday. 200 people got sanctified. They were jumping over the altar to die. Can you imagine that? They were jumping over the altar to die. The next night I preached on the kingdom. And Pastor Keith McGahee, who's a PhD, he was a professor at Wesley Bible Seminary. Now he's a pastor. He started shouting. He says he felt like his eyes were going to blow up. He said, I feel like my bones are on fire. And then 2 ladies with fibromyalgia started shouting. And then a lady with sleep apnea felt like God, and I found out she was healed. And then an anorexic lady was healed. And then a Nazarene pastor scheduled for open heart surgery in 2 days, didn't have to have it. And in that same service, there was a 19-year-old lady named Ashley who wants to go to Bible college and be a missionary, but she has 50 seizures a day. She was on the front row. God said, just lay your hands on her. So I went over and laid my hands on her. She was having a seizure. January 6th, Thursday night, about 10 o'clock. She hadn't had one since. I was at Antioch Church in Kansas City, and the Lord gave me a word of knowledge that someone was going to be healed of cancer. Her name was Mrs. Harris. God healed her. My neighbor, Marilyn Taylor, Sturgeon and Taylor, was a big builder in Kansas City. Brad Taylor's their son. Brad's wife is Marilyn. She had breast cancer. She said, "Can you come over and pray for me? I just wrecked my motorcycle and had a broken ankle." I said, "God, I can't." And that day, I'm in an air cast. He said, "Just go." So I went over there and prayed for her, and 2 days later, the cancer was gone. "Well, Brother Dan, I tried this. It doesn't happen." Well, then keep trying. Don't write a new theology. Read the book. "Well, Brother Dan, I don't believe it all happens like that." Well, then why not? There are commentaries, there are books that say, well, that all ended when they all died, but it's not in this book. And we need the Word and the Spirit. We need purity and power. We need the fruit and the gifts. We need the doctrine on display. We don't need it on the shelf. We need to live Jesus. Are you with me? It says that Jesus ascended to the right hand of the Father, and they went out and did exactly what he said, and he confirmed his word with the signs and wonders that stuck to them like parasites. So what are you full of? I'm serious. What are you full of? Because if you're full of religion, it won't happen. Am I right? If you're full of fear, it won't happen. If something comes up on me and squeezes me real hard and presses me, water come. Why'd that come out? Did it come out because he squeezed me and the lid? No, it came out because it was full of water. What are you full of? I mean, if the economy and family situations just shake you up, I think we're in a time of shaking, and I think it's going to get worse. It's not going to get less. I think God is shaking the thing up right now to find out what's unshakable, and that's what's going to remain. So if you're shaken, but if you're full of the Spirit, what's going to come out? If something comes along in your life and just wrecks your world and turns your world upside down, what are you full of? Amen? You see, I think the worse the situation, the worse the circumstances, if you were full of Jesus, the more soaked people would get around you. Amen?